I've read one article in which it was, okay, so Against the Storm versus Timberborn, who will be a better Beaver city builder? But in fact, we don't, we don't compete that much. We prefer to help each other a lot.
This is Open Indie episode number 13, and today we're gonna talk about a game where it's really bad weather. In this bad weather condition, you gotta work really, really hard. That's a short summary of Against the Storm. The indie studio developing this game sits in Poland. They're called Eremite Games, and today I've got one of them here with me.
Hi, my name is Łukasz, and I'm a communications manager at Eremite Games. We're a small indie studio, 5 people working from Wrocław, Poland. And yeah, I want to say hi to all the listeners as well. This is actually my first time in a podcast, so this will sure be an exciting experience. Yeah, and I can't wait for all the mistakes that I'll make, which will then torment me at night.
Don't worry about it. That's great to have you here, Łukasz. Against the Storm is a roguelite city builder, currently out in early access. Maybe you can go a little bit more into detail and describe one scene which you really like so we can dive into the game.
Picture this. You are a viceroy and you ventured into the unknown wilds in your yellow raincoat, high Wellingtons. It's all wet because it's raining cats and dogs here. But you don't really complain that much because here in Against the Storm's world, the rain is everlasting. So it keeps raining all the time for ages. So the constant rain is reality here. So people learn to use it to their own advantage. So that's the reality. Everyday situation here. It's raining all the time. And when I said so, people learned to use it to their own advantage, I obviously meant intelligent beavers, lizards, and humans, because those are the species that inhabit the world of Against the Storm. So you were sent here into the wilds by the mysterious Scorched Queen, a ruler whose identity is concealed. She wants you to establish settlements, plenty of them really, and gather scarce resources that are necessary to rebuild the smoldering city. That's the capital of this world, and the only city that can really withstand the devastating and recurring blight storm that ravages the lands every full in-game cycle. The architecture in the game's world is adapted to the constant rainfall, so you will see that buildings have a lot of pipes, gutters, cauldrons, mill wheels, all the stuff that really help villagers tame the water. You will also see a lot of ornaments that are specific to the 3 main species. So beavers use a lot of wood in their buildings, humans leverage bricks, while lizards use sharp elements such as fangs from the animals they hunted. And as you explore the forest, you will also see a lot of strange creatures, such as a giant mole or a levitating burning skull. It's a fantasy game, and we really wanted to add many fantasy elements to it. And there will also be ancient relics, buildings devastated by the storm. Yeah, you can find many cool things in the wilds. And what you will hear all the time is the soothing sound of a rainfall and a soundtrack with a predominant piano theme that resembles the raindrops dripping into puddles. So there's this whole raining atmosphere in the game all the time. The art style of the game is hand-painted, stylized fantasy. And if it reminds you of games like League of Legends or Warcraft series, then, well, it should. It should, because those games were one of the main inspirations, at least visually.
Yeah, I thought so. I really was reminded of Warcraft. In Against the Storm, you don't really build up an army, right?
Exactly. There's no combat in game. We have creatures that will cause a lot of trouble in your city. So, for example, we have this giant drainage mole who destroys all the buildings in his area. Or we have a tipsy leaking cauldron who's spilling poison and destroying all the resources nearby. We have this burning skull, but we don't really have combat. At least for now, we'll see, because the game is in early access, and if the community will demand combat, if we manage, we will be happy to deliver, because we also like combat in games. It's not a priority for us. It never has been. We always wanted this game to be a city builder in which you predominantly build buildings, build cities, a lot of cities. The combat element is optional. It was never in plans, but as the game grows, we tend to think more and more about it. But yeah, so there's no combat, but there are a lot of threats around your city. So those magical creatures, there's also this constant rain, which comes in 3 seasons. There's drizzle, clearance, and storm, and those 3 seasons really drive the gameplay in the city builder layer of the game. In drizzle, you plant crops. In clearance, you harvest them, while the storm is like test of your skills. They're really your management finesse. So yeah, there's no combat, but there are a lot of threats that you will face.
Depending on how much rain there are different things you can do.
The rain influences the game in many aspects. I mentioned how visually the buildings look like they could exist in a world in which it never stops raining. That's how we actually started the whole process of developing the game. So the team had a conversation about what interesting world we can create. And there was a talk by one of the fantasy writers, I believe it was Brandon Sanderson, but don't quote me on this. And he said that if you want to create an interesting world, take an existing world, alter one element, and then try to think how it would influence the whole world. So for us, it was this constant rain part. So what would the world look like if it kept raining all the time? So that's why villagers wear those raincoats. There are a lot of pipes, gutters, and there are buildings that leverage the water, the whole rain punk technology, as we call it. It's not really that developed in the game. We hope to make more out of it during early access, but still, you can see some buildings like rain collector that is used to process the rain's magical essence. So that's one of the elements how rain influences the game. The other was the 3 rain seasons. And also on this world map layer, another layer of the game, there's a recurring blight storm that reshuffles the map all the time, because we have this huge world map that is procedurally generated, where you pick your next map, where your next settlement will be placed. And there are different biomes that differ when it comes to resource availability, seasons, length, and many other factors. And this world map is procedurally generated, so each player has a different one. And then after every few in-game years, the map reshuffles, and there's this whole new landscape before you.
If I understand correctly, the rain doesn't have so much influence on the gameplay yet.
There are also other elements of the rain, but we intend to add more to this part of the game because we were really fascinated by it from the very beginning. And so visually, you can already see it. Gameplay-wise, there are already many systems and buildings in game, and we always try to think of this element as one of the game pillars. And there's still 12 or 11 months of early access ahead of us, at least. And we are really excited to see what cool ideas will we come up with.
I already played this game first when you published a demo during Gamescom this year. To be honest, At first, I was so close in not finishing the demo because for me, it was just a typical builder. So you construct a building to cut down wood, another one to gather stones. And for me, it felt like, okay, that's the usual. But somehow, and that really fascinated me, I kept going and I really had fun with this game. Yesterday, I also played again for a little while. There I also found out that it really does get complex because all your workers, they got special needs and you've also got several mini quests you got to look out for. So could you summarize the gameplay for us and get more into detail and tell us if this is a classic builder or if it's not?
Sure. And this is the hardest part probably because as you've already mentioned, the game seems very typical at the beginning. It really becomes attractive after a few hours when you get to understand why it's different from other city builders. So Against the Storm is a roguelite city builder. We knew we can't, as a 5-people small studio, we can't compete with big games like, I don't know, City Skylines, etc. We knew we cannot create as much content as other games can. So we were looking for other ways to make the game as replayable as possible. The roguelite elements increase replayability, add random elements that make the game more exciting and different each time you play. And that's also one of the things we wanted to achieve because we believe that in most of the city builders there are two really fascinating feelings. The first one is when you start a new city, it's like you have the opportunity to start anew, like what will you do this time? What will you do different? What will you do better? So this is one of the things. The second one is the feeling of the super big advanced city that you've built and it really works on its own. You just look at your own creation and you're happy. We knew it will be hard for us to achieve this thing. So we wanted to play on this first feeling, the feeling of rebuilding, of starting anew. The typical game in Against the Storm takes around 2 hours. So you need 2 hours to finish a single game. And you need to complete several games to unlock all the things that are awaiting you. So yeah, that's the basic. You build an endless number of cities instead of one endless city. That's the idea. Okay, so it's still survival city building at its core. You construct buildings, you assign workers to them, you take care of your villagers. Each building has specific slots in which you can either place a human or beaver or lizard. You can either place all of them in one or some are dedicated to specific species. Those species have their needs. So you need to take care of their housing, diet, entertainment, things like that. And each species have different needs. So, for example, beavers will like to eat vegetables, while lizards will prefer meat. And they also have different housing. So it's usually hard to fulfill the needs of all 3 species. Sometimes you will need to focus on let's say 2 out of 3. And they also have their specializations. So let's say beavers are better at woodcutters' camps. Humans are better at farming, while lizards, you should really send lizards into wilds to hunt for the food. So those are the species differ from each other. We really wanted them to have different specializations. That's one of the things. You also gather resources. That's another just roguelite, this survival city building part. You gather resources, and there's a limited amount of resources on the map. Some of them you can farm, but there's a limited number of resources on the map, and you don't always know what you will find. So depending on the biome on which you play, you can find specific resources. But as the maps have procedurally generated content on the glades that surround your village, you don't really know what you will find in this specific play. So you need to adjust your strategy to what you find, really.
I also saw, because there's like all this fog around your city, everything is foggy and you need to cut down the trees to see what's beyond your settlement. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this element, this is the dense forest system. It was inspired by Dungeon Keeper or discovering chambers in roguelite dungeons. So you don't really know what's behind this fog. You can find there resources, destroyed buildings that you can rebuild and then use. But you can also find threats like the drainage mold that I mentioned before, or this leaking cauldron. Yeah, but you don't really know what's behind them. There are some perks in the game that allow you to peek what's behind the mist, but it always comes at a cost.
I didn't find them yet.
Yeah, there is one that allows you to see the content of the glade, but every time you discover a new glade, one of your villager dies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's always important to think about the different outcomes of the perks that you get.
Yeah, that's really tricky because I really had problems having enough villages to work for me. So if one of them dies, or I even had this small quest or this threat which kills 3 of my workers, and then I really had problems because I didn't have enough.
Yep, exactly. So in our game, you make a lot of choices, starting with, okay, in which direction should I explore or build more buildings. So you don't really want to explore the whole map because we have this hostility of the forest system. The forest gets angry at you once you start discovering. Yeah, the forest becomes angry at you when you discover a new glade. So when you cut the forest, it's becoming more and more hostile towards you. So you really want to make sure you have enough resources to explore those glades. The game usually takes around 2 hours, which sounds quite low for a city builder, but in our game you can play for longer, but you usually achieve the goal of the game within those 2 hours, of a single game within those 2 hours. So you can win the game by getting enough reputation points. You get reputation points in many various ways, and you can lose the game if the scourge queen becomes too impatient. So there's always this red bar that grows with time, and it's your queen's impatience. If she sees that, okay, you're not managing the village well enough, or that your citizens are suffering, are hungry, starving, then she will just close this whole operation, bring you back to the smoldering city, and let you start a new city, but this one will be gone.
Okay, so that's the roguelite element, right?
Yep, one of those roguelite-ish elements. And on the other hand, there's this reputation bar. So if you fill the whole reputation bar, you win the game, you get meta resources that you can later spend. And you can either continue playing on this map in this survival city building mode, so you can extend the game for a couple more hours, or you can also just finish this particular play and go to another one to gather more resources to purchase more upgrades. So you can get those reputation points in 3 ways for now. We want to introduce more. The first one is simply by completing orders. And this is a cool, exciting part for me because you really pick your own orders. You select the goals for each game. You are in charge of what's going to happen. So every time you play, you get to pick one of several available goals. So you select the first one, 2 or 3 or 4 cards appear, you then need to select one of them. So one will say, build 2 woodcutter camps. The other will say discover 2 glades. Third one will say, I don't know, have 6 human villagers. And depending on the availability of resources or the villagers that you have or the rewards for each order, you will then pick one of those. And you can pick up to, I believe, 12 orders in each game or 10. And so yeah, you choose your own goals. They appear with time, so you don't have to select all of them at the beginning. They will appear gradually throughout the game. So you select your own orders. But since it's a roguelite game and there's a lot of randomness involved, what if you draw 3 orders, you need to pick one of them, but you know that you cannot fulfill any of them because, I don't know, you play on this specific map, you didn't discover this specific resource, you cannot create this good because you don't have a building that creates it. So what then? Did you just lose the game? No, you don't. There are other ways to get reputation points. The other one is exploring. So I told you about the forest getting angry at you for cutting it down and discovering glades. You always can get reputation points. So it makes game harder for you exploring those glades, but you also get a lot of profit from it. So you can find their resources that you can then use to produce goods. You can find buildings that you can rebuild. And you can also find those ancient relics. They usually cause some threat. But if you manage to resolve it, so usually provide some goods. For example, you can give some goods to the drainage mole, and he will leave your village alone, and you get reputation points in return. I mean, you also get to choose. You can either get resources or reputation points, for example. And that's one of the key things in our game. You make a lot of decisions, and the other way to get reputation points is by keeping your villagers' resolve high. So if you manage to satisfy their needs, which I was talking about earlier, and then their resolve, morale, will grow. And once it reaches a certain threshold, they will start passively getting reputation points for you. So this is just an example of how we always try to make the game not... well, it's a roguelite. There's a lot of randomness, so things can happen that can break your game. We always make sure the game is not frustrating. So if you lose by bad RNG, it's frustrating. We always try to provide you with different ways of getting those reputation points, of getting those goods, so you never really feel like you've been cheated by the game and that you were doing good, but due to some random number generation, you lost, which was unfair. We try to mitigate those feelings and give you opportunities to win the game despite having a bad year or something like that.
If you do lose, you can just pick another place on the map and start another settlement there, right?
Exactly. I mentioned this world map layer because we have this city building layer in which you usually play for 2 hours, win the game or lose a game. But despite losing or winning, you always get some meta resources, like in other roguelite games. So even if you lose, you always take something out of this play. And for those meta resources, you can upgrade the smoldering city. It's your meta progression avatar. It looks similarly to all the cities in Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and later and other games from the series. So you spend meta resources to buy some buildings that then unlock some upgrades for you. For example, they unlock new building blueprints that you can use in next games. They unlock new perks that you can draw in games. So it all makes it easier for you to win later games, or maybe not really easier, but to take on new challenges, because this whole world map, it's also designed to give you a flexibility of choosing the difficulty level. It's really abstract and hard to explain using only words. But you mentioned it gets complex with time. That's true. So in this world map layer, you have this smoldering city in the center that you can upgrade with meta resources. But around there are multiple hex fields. And each hex field represents a map on which you can play. The maps differ when it comes to available resources, season's length, and difficulty. So the further from the smoldering city, the harder it gets. So if you like to take on challenges, just venture far. It will give you more rewards, but it will also provide you with different challenges. And on this whole world map, there are also modifiers that change the gameplay. There are some that make farms more profitable, and there is one which was added because of the players' feedback, that disables the pause. So you cannot pause the game if you play near this modifier. Players really wanted it. Yeah, they wanted a new challenge.
That's something I really liked, pausing the game for a while if I needed to read something. What does the building do exactly? And I don't know, why are the lizards unhappy? What do they need? And I just pressed the space bar and I could pause the game. But sure, if there's this modifier where you can't pause, I think that's definitely another challenge, a cool thing to add, and maybe also easier if you already know some elements of the game and know what the buildings do exactly.
This is one of the challenges that we added for experienced players, because we know the game can be difficult at the beginning, but it can also get too easy if you know the mechanics, and we don't really want. And since the games are pretty short, we don't really want players to get bored too soon. So there's a lot of randomness involved. You make a lot of choices, but you also get new challenges. The further you play, the harder it gets. If you play near some specific modifiers, it will also make the game harder for you. And we also give players challenges every cycle, or every phase, I should say. In this world map layer, there are also phases. So from time to time, you will move to another phase. And in each phase, you can complete different achievements, challenges, deeds. We call it deeds. So for example, build 3 cities during a cycle, or win a game by not getting any reputation point from orders. So then you need to keep those morale high or explore a lot. So those are different challenges, and that we give players, so that each game also. So in each game you can get new goals. Experiment with your build.
What do you think, what games can Against the Storm be compared with? You already said that it's been inspired by Warcraft, but what players exactly would like your game?
We like to call it Banished meets Slay the Spire. So there's this survival city building part in which you take care of your villagers, make sure they live another year. But there's also this roguelite Slay the Spire element. That's one of the, design-wise, it was one of the greatest inspirations, Slay the Spire, because in Slay the Spire, each game is really different. You make a lot of choices, and we also try to give our players a lot of choices. So in every game, several times you will pick which one of multiple buildings you want to get, which one of the perks you want to get, which group of villagers you want to invite to the city, what goal do you want to complete this game, stuff like that. So yeah, this whole choices element allows us to create synergies between perks. So for example, there's this perk that I told you about that allows you to discover what's hidden on the glades, but you also lose a villager by getting to the glade. And there's also another perk called cannibalism, and that allows you to get food from each dead villager. So if you combine those two perks, it turns out that exploring glades can be really beneficial for you because you get food for exploration, which means that, for example, in this particular play, if you find those two perks, maybe you shouldn't do any farming at all because you can just sacrifice your villagers for the sake of getting food. We try to play on those synergies and different scenarios, make each game really feel different.
Against the Storm is currently in early access, as we already said, on Epic Game Store. Is it also coming to early access on Steam?
It's coming to Steam and GOG next year. Against the Storm is a 1-year timed Epic Games Store exclusive, but we want to release it on Steam and GOG as well, and hopefully other platforms too. I'm not sure if it will enter Steam in early access. Maybe it will be just full release on Steam and GOG. I'm not really sure, but if you find this whole early access program beneficial, and if players will want more updates to happen, if we will be able to deliver those updates, maybe we will extend it. For now, it's hard to tell, but definitely it will also be available on other platforms.
Why did you choose Epic Games Store?
Despite the fact that the studio was founded in 2017, it was an after-hours project for a very, very long time. We only officially created Eremite Games in March this year. So previously it was some kind of after-hours project. We all met in a mobile game development company in Wrocław. That's where we all met. And we started to work on a game after hours. It was a strategy mobile game called Shattered Plane, turn-based strategy game. We really wanted to create some project that will be a new addition to our portfolio and will allow us to work on something different than we worked in our daily job back then. Because we were working on mobile and social games, but we didn't dig their theme that much. We grew on RPG games like Gothic, Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Oblivion, strategy games, Age of Empires, Warcraft series. So all the classic PC games, and we always knew we wanted to create PC games. But we all started in the mobile company, so we knew how to create mobile games, and we created our first strategy game as Eremite Games on mobile. It was a pretty simple game. It never meant to be a commercial success, or we didn't aim for anything like that. We just wanted to have a project that will allow us to form a team, see if we can work together, if we can create commercial projects at all and release them. And it turned out that yes, we can. We didn't sell too many copies. At the beginning, it was more than we ever expected, but it wouldn't allow us to work full time as a studio. the revenue from this game. But it allowed us to grow our careers, and so some of the team split for a moment. I, for example, moved to another city and started working on PC games for a few years now. Some other guys also went to other workplaces. We have people from Techland, from 10 Square Games, huge, so big companies. And the core team kept working on various projects throughout the time. And in late 2019, I believe it was November, I think that's when they started, the first line of Against the Storm's code was written. So 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago from now. And yeah, in late 2020, the core team started to look for a publisher, because the game was already had a Steam page and it was gathering wish lists. So the team knew it has a potential because of the number of wish lists and people that started to become attracted by the project. And when the first demo came out, it was picked up by multiple streamers and they liked it, even though when we look at the demo right now, it was way different than what we have now. But still, after the demo, also the first publishers started to become attracted to the project. And I believe that's when the team realized that, okay, after a few years of doing this after hours, so working in game dev as our daily jobs, or their daily jobs, and after hours developing this Against the Storm, it turned out that this project has a potential and that there are publishers willing to give money to fund the game and to give their marketing support and their knowledge. So that's also when I got the news that the team is very successful and that there's an opportunity for us to get back together and to form a studio. And that's what we did. We took a leap of faith. We quit our jobs. We started a company in March this year. I moved back to Wrocław. And one of the first things that happened is, unfortunately, the publisher with whom we were supposed to sign a deal had to quit. And we hold no grudge, because we know the situation. It was just very unfortunate situation. We are really excited to start working with them, but because of some external factors, we weren't able to. But they were super kind to us, and they introduced us to the Epic Games Store team. We had an opportunity to pitch the project. And that's really how our cooperation started. They offered us really, really good terms, which allowed us to extend the development plan for the game, because we initially planned something like 6 to 9 months of early access, and thanks to Epic, we can prolong this process and eventually make the game even larger and add even more content, and well, basically, which makes me very happy, we can guarantee that this early access will come to an end, like that we will reach the point with which we are satisfied. Because there are many, I worked on some early access games, I've been in some early access communities, and I know that some projects fail. We were excited about another city builder game, which also released in early access this year, but unfortunately the developer had to, the studio was closed, and the players will never get the updates they wanted. I mean, maybe they will get. Maybe there will be another developer or publisher who will continue this project. But I imagine the frustration of players who purchased the game, who joined the community, and then unfortunately they will never, or they in a near future they will never see the game being finished or fixed or anything. We are in this situation that we can guarantee our players that the early access will last for 12 months. For the 12 exciting months, we will work together with our community to make the game better, to add their ideas to the game, and we're confident we can do this, and it's also better for us because it's just very comforting that we know that our studio will not have to shut down so soon.
So you don't actually have a publisher, just this deal with Epic Games, which really helps you, nevertheless, right?
Exactly, and that's one of the things from the business perspective that we are really satisfied with. For the moment, we don't need a publisher that much. I believe we will look for a publisher near Steam or GOG release to get their marketing support for this full release push. When we enter Steam and GOG, so there will be new communities, new batch of players. For now, we were able to self-publish on Epic Game Store, and the Epic Game Store team also helped us a lot. But they don't take a share as the revenue share as a publisher would. There are different. Well, usually publisher takes from 30 to 50% of the revenue. I mean, there are different agreements. We also heard. We were once given an opportunity to sign with a publisher who would need us to recoup 200% of the money they invested, and that's really a lot. So we wouldn't see a single dollar until we pay twice as many as they invested in the project.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yes, that's a lot, and that's a harsh reality for indie game developers. In the recent report about the Polish game industry, I've read that out of 10 new studios, indie game studios or game studios that are opened, 9 of them are shut down. So there is a lot of studios closing, and we are in this comfortable situation that we know we can work for at least this whole exclusivity period plus more. This whole deal with Epic allowed us to do the thing we always dreamed of, and that is to establish a studio that will last for a long time. And so they really gave us this opportunity, and it was always the most important for us. We wanted to create a good game, but we didn't want to create a game and then go back to our daily jobs or to corporation. No, we aim for something long term, and for now we are lucky to have a optimistic ideas about the future.
What player feedback are you getting so far now that Against the Storm is in early access, or what things you still need to work on?
Oh, that's a lot. We get a lot of feedback. We are very, very open to community suggestions. There are many ways in which we gather feedback. So, for example, we started this community brainstorm sessions. We give the community a specific topic, like what new biome would you like to see in the game? what new species would you like to be added? What species do you believe could live in this world? What villagers' names would you give? Many different topics. We let the community discuss it with us. We really leverage those ideas. We don't want to just give the community opportunity to talk. We really want to incorporate those ideas into the game. So we started this when there was a demo out. So I believe within the first week of the demo being available, we added 4 updates, which were mainly inspired by the community suggestions. And for example, it's the community that wanted to have this no pause modifier added to the game, and we were like, okay, if that's really, really what you want, sure, we can add it to the game. We added it to the game together with other challenges, and that's how we like to work, to stay in touch with the community and to test their ideas, to let them also be a part of the development. We really want to go this community-driven development path.
Okay, that's really cool.
We also added a cool feature in-game community vote. So a few days ago, we let people vote on the next big feature that we'll add to the game. So the players were able to choose whether they want a new biome or a new special abilities.
You just described that Eremite Games was founded again this year, but actually founded 2018. How did you guys get together back then? How did you get to know each other?
We started in this mobile and social games company in Wrocław, and we were all really passionate about meaningful strategy and RPG games. And I think that's what brought us together, really. Michał, our programmer, started to code a game, this strategy one, the mobile one, and he was like involving more and more people into the project who were also passionate about game development after hours, because it really, the game development it really takes a lot of your time and a lot of effort. You usually need to do something after hours as well. And yeah, so that's how we met. We were all super passionate about games and about game development, and I think that's what clicked. We stayed together since then, even though I, for example, moved. We stayed in touch all the time. Now we're back together. We rent the office, so the current pandemic situation in Poland allowed us to rent an office. We were able to work from home for a very long time, but the whole creative spirit of working together in the office is really beneficial for us. So we somehow managed to create a well-prospering team.
Why did you choose the name Eremite Games?
Oh, I don't remember this. I only heard about alternative names, and I'm super happy they picked Eremite Games, not the alternatives.
Okay, what was the alternative?
I don't know, something like Brother Mood. It was supposed to be Brotherhood, but also Mood. I don't know. They were like, it was like crazy. It was crazy. It was strange, and fortunately, they picked Eremite Games in the end. And I'm really happy about it because, yeah.
I also checked your website. You're saying there we're indie for better or worse. What's better and what's worse?
Better is that as long as we stay independent, we can rely on our own ideas. There are no external forces forcing us to do anything we don't want to do. There's 5 of us working on the game. Discussing the ideas together. Right now we cooperate with Epic Game Store, but they don't force us to do anything. They are not involved in the project. They only help us promote it, make it better, but they don't really tell us what to do. We tell ourselves what we want to do. We cooperate close with the community, so that's very fruitful for us. That we don't really need to do anything that we wouldn't be satisfied with, and so this is better because we are allowed to create a game with beavers and lizards and a giant mole, and no one will say, okay, this is childish, maybe let's do something more mature or something like that. We don't need to do this. We can do whatever we want. And what I figured is, whenever we put any boundaries on people in our team, it's not as exciting. So we try not to constrain them in any way. Everyone is allowed to do anything they want, as long as it benefits the project, obviously. So our graphic designer creates those fantastic creatures, and if that's what he wants to be added to the game, then sure, we love his ideas. And I just know that if we told him, okay, do this and this, and you have no free will to do anything else, then he wouldn't create as fantastic things as he does right now. So no constraints for us means a better end result. And for Wars, it means that we are doing everything ourselves. So yeah, we do some over hours, and by some I mean quite a lot. And we don't have this expertise from senior managers who released more games than us, who created more games than us. We get a lot of support from those game development meetings, from all the resources we can get online. So GDC talks, YouTube videos, YouTube talks, all those events, digital events happening right now with plenty of interesting topics from all those newsletters. But we also have to learn on our mistakes. Fortunately, we already have, I believe it's either 5 or 7 years plus for every team member of working in game development. So we worked on several games, we released several games, but still, we don't have anyone above us with more experience than we have who would tell us, no, guys, don't do this, better go the other way. And also, there was the other part in the website's description, that we earn the same amount of money. So obviously, I think for each one of us, going independent, so going this indie way, meant decreasing our salaries. But at least at this point of time, it's not as important for us. We want to grow the studio, to create fantastic games, and hopefully profit in the future. But yeah, this is the indie for Wars, that you don't earn that much money as you would earn in, I don't know, corporation or another startup.
But you also said on your website that no matter what position, like you're 5 people and you get paid equally, so you split the money equally?
Yes, that's one of the principles. Every member of the company earns the same amount of money. So, yep. And we all have everyone's opinion counts. If there are any like hot topics, we always sit down together, discuss it. Usually the person whose expertise, who has the most expertise in given subject, usually this person has the deciding vote, but we always try to discuss it. We don't want to, enforce our own decisions on everyone else. So far it works really good.
What moment in your life in the games industry will you always remember? Is there something that sticks out?
This is a very strange feeling. So the first time, I think the first time we release something to the people, and you don't really know if they'll like it or not, if they'll hate it. We were lucky enough that people really enjoyed Against the Storm's demo, and it was really comforting to know that, okay, there are people who like this game, there are people who want to contribute to this game by leaving their suggestions, bug reports. This really means a lot. It means that someone gives a damn about this game. I maybe you didn't hear it, but it was a slight pun. Give a damn, like beavers give. So the people care about the game. People leave their suggestions, opinions, even the negative ones. If somebody leaves a negative opinion, it still means that they care about this game, and they cared about this so much that they decided to share their suggestion how to improve it or what's not working for them. Because if they didn't care at all, they would just, okay, never mind this game. It was a demo, I didn't pay for it. But people really tend to help us with the game by leaving their suggestions, feedback. This is exciting. But the one feeling that I particularly felt is that, okay, you get products from different companies. You buy Coca-Cola and you drink Coca-Cola. I don't know, you eat Snickers. Those companies don't pay me for saying this, but yeah, you purchase products from other companies, and many times they are just faceless companies. But now we are a 5-people studio, and we know that some people are there to support us creators, not the product. And this is really exciting, that people believe in you, they want to see more from you, they cheer for you and not for the game. And this is just magical feeling.
Looking at Poland, the games industry in Poland, are you getting any funding?
Not really. I mean, there is, or was, because I didn't hear about new editions for a while, a governmental program, a fund created by the National Center for Research and Development, I believe, which supports innovative ideas in game development. But it's not something that small companies like ours can really afford. It sounds strange because how can a fund that gives you money be hard to afford? But it requires a lot of time to prepare, to come up with an idea that's worth pitching to the fund, then preparing this vast documentation, presenting it. And there's only a limited number of companies that can get the grant. And it's hard for a 5-people studio to come up and develop a solution so groundbreaking that it will be worth investing a lot of money into it. And we also don't want to force ourselves to do something which we don't have passion for. So many times those grants go to projects that develop some AI or different IT solutions that maybe we don't really want to do right now. Our project is small, we know our scope, we don't try to do anything groundbreaking. We obviously want to be unique among other city builders, but we don't aim for, those groundbreaking innovations. And back to the Polish support, I've also heard about so-called patriotic fund. So it covers the development of projects that promote Polish culture. And like I mentioned, we didn't want to do that because we don't want to constrain our vision, our ideas. And I can't really imagine adding, Polish culture to the fantasy roguelite city builder with beavers, lizards, scorched queen, giant moles, And so we didn't really take advantage of those funds, but they are here. Yeah, they are here.
You wish for more funds supporting indie developers?
Yeah, always. If there is an opportunity for game developers to get money to fulfill their dreams and to learn, to get experience, then I would love to see more opportunities like that. But despite only those two funds, Polish game developers can also get help from, for example, there's an NGO called Indie Games Poland Foundation. I believe they work with, they cooperate somehow with these governmental institutions. I don't know exactly how it works, and I don't want to mix something up. But this Indie Games Poland Foundation, it helps developers in many ways. So, for example, they book booths at foreign events and then create joint Polish games booth. For example, there's a Polish game booth at Gamescom, and there are representatives of many Polish game development companies there showcasing their games. So instead of purchasing a space during event for a single company, this Indie Games Poland purchases a space and then recruits, searches for Polish game developers who are willing to go there and showcase their games. And the other way in which they help is they provide free consultations. So you can take, for example, a legal advice for free, or as we did, discuss opportunities and specifics of the Asian market. So because of these consultations, we were able to talk for a while with an expert from, I believe, 11-Bit Studios, the creators of Frostpunk. So we learned a lot for free about the Asian market and what could we do to show our games there as well.
We also talked recently to the Polish developer Draw Distance in episode number 10, and they told us that Poland is a great country for developing games, but they criticized that there aren't many companies offering services to game developers like PR and marketing, legal support, technical support, and so on. Do you agree?
I don't know. The Draw Distance is definitely more experienced company than we are. I know of many PR companies here in Poland. I worked with some of them in the past. I know that they do a good job promoting the game on Central European market. I don't know how they work on a global scale. I don't know that. We also have some game testing companies and localization companies for example, QLog. But I don't really know. I specialize in marketing, so I only know the marketing part and the PR. And I believe there are some companies that you can work with. I can't really judge the quality of their service because I'm not that experienced, and it's only ahead of us. So I must believe Draw Distance know what they are saying. But they are very right that Poland is a good environment for game developers, for creating games. And because aside from the governmental actions and this NGO, we also have many schools that teach game development. So for example, here in Wrocław, I'm sure that at least 2 universities offer game design courses. I know that I teach one course at one of those universities, only a couple of hours, but I know that for a few years now they run a game design class, and there are also many study groups that focus on game development, and those study groups operate on a very professional level. For example, one of those study groups, TK Games, they organize the largest game jam in the area. So every year, aside from the pandemic years right now, they organized a game jam for 200 people, and I'm sure there will be more if they had facilities to have more than 200 people. But those are really high quality events and high quality meetings they have. It runs on a very professional level, so students here in Poland have an opportunity to learn game development from very early on. And I'm sure there are many also schools that offer game development classes. And also I told you about some game development meetings, and this is also very helpful, and those students also visit those game development meetings. And we are lucky. I mean, I don't know how it works in other countries, but here in Poland, Polish game developers, especially indie developers, are very, very helpful towards each other. Whenever we meet, we have another game, Timberborn, also a city builder with beavers, so a very similar topic to ours. They are also from Poland, and I've read one article in which it was, okay, so Against the Storm versus Timberborn, who will be a better beaver city builder? But in fact, we don't compete that much. We prefer to help each other a lot. So we are resharing our own news. You can see some Timberborn news on our channel, and you can see some Against the Storm news on their channel. We didn't have an opportunity to meet with this particular studio, but whenever we see other game developers, it always ends up with some beneficial conversations, exchanging ideas. The Polish game development landscape is really friendly. I really like and enjoy meeting other devs. Yep.
Even though, is there still something you say you still need or miss as an indie developer?
Well, it's hard to tell. We are happy for now. Maybe some general advice. If there was some way to, tell all the people that game development is, in fact, despite all those nice things around it, it's a tough business and many projects fail. I would be happy if there was some way to, let all those excited students know that some genres sell better than others, and sometimes it might not be worth investing a significant part of their lives creating a game that will not sell. That's always what's heartbreaking for me, seeing people who put a lot of effort to create a game that later fail.
And which genres do not work?
They work. They are probably good games, but they don't attract too many people because the market is changing and some games are no longer as popular as they used to be. So if there was some way to better inform people about what sells or what doesn't sell and how to do a proper market research, I'd be very excited about that.
Do you personally have then any advice for indie developers or students who want to become developers?
Yeah, so that's related to the thing I just said. Do the proper market research. Watch what games sell. There are many tools online that allow you to do this. There's this Steam database. There are many newsletters like howtomarketagame.com, Game Discoverability Co. I believe that was the name, Game Discover Co. There are many tools online that allow you to research games. There are formulas that allow you to estimate earnings. So if you do a proper market research, start creating a game in a genre that has a potential to give you proper revenue from selling the game, and then you do the marketing job well and promote it to people, then you are almost guaranteed to at least find a publisher who will give you funding and let you fund your dreams. So my advice is just do some research before coming up with the game idea. Against the Storm was supposed to be an RPG game at the beginning, because obviously everyone in the team wanted to do an RPG game, hopefully MMORPG game. But yeah, fortunately, everyone soon realized that 5 people can't compete against other RPG games, and it will take us years to create something. To create something meaningful, and we didn't have money to spend years working on a game, and we knew no one would give us this money. So everyone searched for another genres that can fit the world in which it never stops raining, and well, the city builder could be one of those genres, and then they decided to add the roguelite aspects, and that's how we started. So from an RPG game to a roguelite city builder.
To sum up, well, Against the Storm, as we already said, is in early access. There are still some things you will work on. Are you still satisfied with the game so far?
We wanted to release a complete game in early access. I mean, complete in terms of systems, of assets, and complete in terms of code's quality. We didn't want to release a buggy game, because if we released a buggy game, we would probably, the majority of feedback would be, okay, so fix this, this, and this. While what we want to get from players is, okay, maybe this particular perk is too OP, try to nerf it, or maybe this building doesn't do its job properly, try to balance it. The game is, too difficult. So, we prefer to get feedback about how to improve the game and not how to fix the game. That was our idea for the early access, and we are able to see this. There are not that many bugs in the game. There are hardly any game-breaking bugs. I believe there were only like a couple examples of people who had some problem, but we were able to help them easily. So yeah, we stick close to the community, and we aim for this early access to be beneficial for the game. We already published the roadmap for this quarter, so the players can expect that within those first 3 months of early access we will add new biome, new species, cloud saves, and many other things. The whole early access will take 12 months, but we obviously have some ideas what we want to add during those 12 months, but we don't really want to commit to anything too early, because we believe in this community-driven development path. So if players want, so once we deliver the things that we planned for this quarter, which many of them were inspired by the feedback we got, we will then hear what players want next, and we will build this roadmap together with them. And yeah, it seems like there's exciting 11 months ahead of us. We already released a content update with new biome, new decorations perks, and yeah, it's really, really exciting to see the game grow.
Łukasz, thanks so much for being here on the show and for all these insights, and it was really great talking to you.
Yeah, big achievement for me. Thank you very much for having me. It was super fun to talk to you.